I'd like to call this meeting of the Lammersville Unified Board of Education to order at 7 o'clock. At this time, I would like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed. So I'd appreciate it if you could please turn off or silence your cell phone. And I'd like to invite Mr. Yeager and Altamont School up to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, girls, ready? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so girls, we're gonna come down this way. So in line like this. Okay, so who's our first speaker? Okay. And then yeah, we're gonna face this way. Okay. Good evening, members of the board. It is our pleasure to stand before you this evening. I present to you our 7th and 8th grade girls varsity basketball team who won the league championship. We are proud to announce that they have brought us our first varsity basketball championship in school history, and we are extremely proud of them. I'm going to introduce our team, and we will speak on what we believe were the keys to our success this season. Good evening, Trustee Goodrich, Trustee Lampel, Trustee Pombo, Trustee Clements, Superintendent Dr. Nicholas, CBO Mrs. Grijalva, and Executive Assistant to the Superintendent Ms. Balzerini. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our wonderful coaches. To the left of me, we have Lindsay Webb. Next to her, we have her husband, Nolan Dixon. Next to him, we have Usha Chiloyal. We have Jiraiya. We have Avitha. We have Vreya, Ali, Ryan, Ashley, Neha, Arshpreet, Hanan, and last but not least, Patience.
I think Mr. Yeager has a little slideshow. I'm Coach Lindsay. I just wanted to thank the girls and thank the community for their support. The camaraderie on this team was definitely fun to be a part of, and I think that's why they were so successful this season. So thank you, girls.
I would like to just say that when we first started out the season, the girls were, I think they were just interested in basketball, but after we played a few games, they really locked in, and the teamwork started to show, and everybody wanted to be a part of something good. So it turned out good for us.
So I've been with them for 2 years, and I know a lot of the girls have been working 2 years strong to work together as a team, and then the newer people came on, and they meshed really well, and they brought home a championship. Good job.
So I'm going to talk about our teamwork. The thing I appreciate most about our teamwork is how well we work together.
Adding on to what Jirai said, I appreciate how we communicated with each other.
And we passed the ball to each other very well as a team.
I'll be talking about perseverance. We persevered by being really aggressive for the ball.
Even when outmatched, we continue to persevere and play hard.
We never gave up and we fought until the end.
I appreciate the rapport of our team, and our bond is one of the strongest.
We worked together and we were always determined to never give up.
Our ability to work well helped us win the game.
I appreciate how we all share a deep love for basketball.
Our love of the game was evident because of our teamwork, perseverance, and rapport.
And I just want to say again how proud I am of our entire team. Watching these student athletes compete was so enjoyable all year long, and the success they achieved is one of the proudest moments I've had as principal of Altamont Elementary. Okay, team, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Panther Pride.
I'll remind you of that phrase next year.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Panthers, and thank you. And any of you that would like to stay and watch our riveting meeting, you're welcome to do so. If you'd like to leave at this time, you may do that as well. Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini.
Absent.
Ann Bonilla.
Present.
Colin Clements.
Present.
Sharon Lampel.
Here.
David Pombo.
Present.
Ruxar Muhammad.
Here.
Approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
There are none. Move to approve the agenda.
Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved with one absent. Presentations. Dr. Nicholas?
I'd like to invite Principal Faubert to come up to invite the students and Mrs. Schofield.
So I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but we've got a great group of students and an awesome teacher that's been doing something called Shark Tank, if you've probably seen that on TV before. It's the English teacher version of Shark Tank, and they're here to kind of show you what that is. So I'm going to invite Miss Shelby Schofield up to the front with her students to give that presentation.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Shelby Schofield, and I'm a teacher at the high school. I just want to introduce Shark Tank and how it came about. As you can see, there's a very odd picture of myself on the PowerPoint presentation. But about 6 years ago when the school started, my students were doing a research paper and a presentation. And one of my students came up to me and said, "Ms. Schofield, this is the boringest assignment I have ever done." And I remember looking at that student and agreeing with him, and we had a conversation on how we can make it better. And so Shark Tank was born. And so what I do every year is I give the students a topic that ranges from medicine to climate change to the refugee crisis. They have to come up with some sort of solution. And then I invite teachers and other adults from the community to come in and try to tank the students. And so if a student is tanked, that means there's some sort of loophole that they found in the project. And so this year was a lot of fun. The project just exploded in popularity. I had kids literally stalking teachers on campus, trying to get help, trying to talk to their math teachers. I had kids getting in touch with Amazon, Coca-Cola, all kinds of professional companies pitching their product. And so it was a pretty great thing to see. So real quick, I have two groups of girls here. One of the groups is going to present their actual product, a very shortened version of it, and the next group is going to talk about what they learned from it. So in order to really truly have the Shark Tank experience, we have to wear the hat. And so that's what it means to really get into Shark Tank.
I think that needs to go to the board president.
Or else you won't get the feel. There we go.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kyla Beimiller.
And I'm Arabella Bacoy.
And we are the co-founders of Shoes from Schofield. We are a U.S.-based nonprofit organization dedicating to helping those less fortunate in the Philippines. The Philippines is a third world country, so a lot of the people who live there are in poverty. And these people who live in poverty, they don't have access to education, healthcare, and like even shoes. And because they don't have access to these necessities, they're more susceptible to health risk. And one health risk in particular is dengue fever. Dengue fever is known to be like the #1 killer in the Philippines. It is a mosquito-borne disease that causes severe flu-like symptoms. And in 2019, it killed over 1,000 people.
So I actually had a personal experience with it, with my cousin dying from dengue. She was unfortunately 10 years old. And she just experienced flu-like symptoms, and then she passed away. And also, my mother was a surgeon in the Philippines for more than 4 years, and she was also able to firsthand experience all the problems and poverty throughout the Philippines. And our solution is we're going to be giving shoes and with a medically scented insoles that will have the mosquito repelled. So we actually have a video. Go ahead, explain who's in the video. So I actually have cousins that are talking in there asking for shoes, and another one of my cousins, they are forced to wear long socks in order to prevent them from getting bitten, and that's all they could do to prevent from mosquitoes. So
the evident problem with poverty in the Philippines correlates to the amount of cases of dengue that they have. Because these poor people don't have access to healthcare, they're definitely more prone to being bitten by these mosquitoes. And the mosquito is the Aedes aegypti mosquito. I'm not completely sure how to pronounce it because it's written really weird, but it's native to the Philippines. So it's not like they can just destroy the whole species or whatever. So we're doing what we can in order to help prevent the disease.
And within the product, we will be having citronella, eucalyptus, and lemon oil in order to have infused into the soles in order for the mosquitoes to repel because they don't like that smell. And it's been proven that it's 95% effective.
And the insole would last from a range of 3 to 6 months.
Great job.
Hi, my name is Jaden.
And I'm Isabella.
So our product was going towards natural disasters, specifically floods and hurricanes, so we made an inflatable raft. So we're going to talk to you guys about what we learned from doing this project. So one thing we learned was to be creative. So our first idea actually was an inflatable house, but then we went back to Ms. Schofield and she was like, no, that's not a good idea. So we went back and created the inflatable raft, and then which we called the floaty boating. And then after that, we also learned how to handle difficult questions and difficult people, which actually can be used in real life with interviews, jobs, and college as well. So that's some things that we learned.
Through this project, we learned how to become more confident in ourselves. At first, we were really nervous and shy to present in such a big audience in front of the whole class. But then we started talking about our product, and that's when we realized that we knew what we were talking about. For this project, we had to use different outside resources from the English world too. We used math, science, and many other subjects in order to produce our product, Floaty Buddy. In the near future, we would like to provide this idea to organizations that would help fund our idea, because we think it would save many lives in the near future. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Schofield, and students. I will share with the board that I attended one of Ms. Schofield's classes and witnessed the Shark Tank presentations, some of the Shark Tank presentations, and I was so impressed with the level of work that the students were doing. I requested that she come and give us a presentation here, and I appreciate it. It was very well done. Thank you.
I wanted to say great job to all four of you and extend my personal condolences for your loss. My stepmother was Filipino, so I too am familiar with that. So great job trying to help.
Students, you are so intelligent and mature and poised, and we're going to be very proud as you go out into the world and solve more problems. Great job.
And kudos to Ms. Schofield for making such an interdisciplinary project. And I know that I can tell that you have high standards and that the students have really aimed high for this project, done a fantastic job. And I just continue to be amazed by the amount of the level, the quality of work that the students are producing at the high school. Amazing.
And kudos to the student who helped you come up with this idea.
And as I said to the Altamont students earlier, you're more than welcome to stay and enjoy our riveting meeting, or you can go home and do homework or whatever you need to do at this time. Thank you very much. Presentation on digital literacy, Assistant Superintendent Sherburne.
Good evening, President Pombo, Dr. Nicholas, trustees. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here tonight to talk to you a little bit about digital literacy and how Lammersville is helping students with having more digital literacy. The information I'm going to share with you tonight is an abbreviated presentation that Ingrid Eliason, our district librarian, shared at our education committee meeting. We wanted to give you a sense of what is going on and what our goal is tonight as well. So to give a little context, Stanford recently conducted a study using a nationally representative sample of about 3,500 high school students to ascertain their digital literacy. The results might be a little shocking. One of the questions, they showed a grainy video of what is ballot stuffing going on in that video, and they asked students to determine, does that constitute evidence of U.S. voter fraud? And 52% of the students said yes. Now, in actuality, this is footage that was shot in Russia. But students didn't think to go back and look and say, is this a reliable video source for determining that claim? They were also shown a website like this and asked to determine, which of the articles on here are news stories and which are ads. And even when you look at like number 3 on there and it says sponsored content, even when it had that, 2/3 of the students could not tell the difference between what was an actual story and what was just an advertisement. And then they pulled up a website like this. This one happens to be on global warming and climate change. And they were asked to determine, is this a reliable website? So students looked at the aesthetics of it. They looked at the fact that it said .org on the end of the domain. They looked at, it has an About Us section that has things about it. And they thought, yeah, this is a reliable site. 96% of the students did not consider why ties between climate change and fossil fuel, and you'll note up there they're asking for donations for fossil fuel, and they're supporting saving U.S. coal, that might be a conflict of interest that might lessen the credibility of this website. So it's important with everything that's out there going on that we help make sure that they know how to evaluate the credibility of a website. So one of the first things we say is that if you are noticing that when you're reading something that you're having an emotional reaction to it, that is your first red flag. Eliciting that emotional reaction is part of the tactic to get you to think that it's credible. So you need to start building a fact-checking habit. So the first thing that we ask you to do is to check for previous work. Go on to sites like PolitiFact, Snopes, or even looking at Wikipedia. Not that all things on Wikipedia are true, but that's the first place to start to see, is this valid and reliable? Next, we say go upstream to the source. If you really start looking at where is the source of this information, then you can analyze and determine whether that source is a reliable source for the information that you're looking at. Once you've gotten to the source, we ask you to read laterally. Now we know this is the source. What are other people in that network saying around that information content as well? Are they validating or conflicting? Do you have some sort of consensus around the information you're being provided? That will help you evaluate the trustworthiness. And then lastly, while you're doing your research, sometimes you can find yourself really going down a rabbit hole and getting lost in trying to get to whether or not this is valid. The recommendation is that you circle back to the beginning and start over. You've learned a lot going down that rabbit hole, and now you'll be able to search more empowered to make better decisions as you start looking at it again, and then get to a more reliable determination of the trustworthiness. So how are we helping students in Lammersville with doing this? One of the things that Ingrid has done, our district librarian, is she's built a Learning Commons website for all of our school sites. So the one I have right here in front of you is for Cuesta, but there's one for every single school site in the district that has a wealth of information and resources for students to use not only on campus, but to use from home as well if they'd like. One of the things I'll share, they have the Follett Destiny search there, and underneath it I've showed they can search for their regular fiction books that they'd like to read. There's a lot of good fiction on there, high quality fiction, but there's informational text on there as well that they can just go in, and what you and I might used to have done with a card catalog, they can digitally search through and find interesting reads. You'll note up there that there are even ebooks available so they can read from home. The next thing that you'll see is they have Encyclopedia Britannica available. We have an elementary, middle, and high school version, even a Spanish version available there. That's a sample of a web page that'll come up when you go into it. That's the high school page of it. You can see it's quite engaging in the way that it looks. There's a variety of information, and they can research unlimited topics. They have news stories on there, things that are topical, recommended U.S. primary sources. So it's quite a valuable source of information. And we have ProQuest. ProQuest has several sources that you can go into and do research on, and we have the links posted for how to do that if you are off campus as well. One of them is the Culturegram site. You'll see there's a World Edition, a Kids Edition for our younger kids. There's the States Edition, and they can even research Canada. They go into it, and it takes them to links on a lot of different topics and resources. It looks similar to this in the layout. This is also the SIRS Discoverer site, which is another part of the ProQuest, and you can see that you have trending topics. If you need help choosing a topic, you can go in and look at those areas, and they have editor picks to help engage you. So even if you're just bored, this is a good place to go and look and find out more information on a topic of interest. So we're quite proud of where we're headed and the resources that Lammersville has been able to provide. Thank you for listening to the information that we have. Any questions?
you.
I'm jealous. I spent a lot of hours in that card catalog.
Yeah.
This is great.
Well, they'll certainly be prepared for college because it looks to me like a college library website. So impressive.
One of the really nice things I'll point out is that when they go in and they do their research in there, speaking of the card catalog, we used to have to copy down to cite our sources and all of that for our bibliography. There's actually a link. They just click on it and it cites the source right into their paper for them. No having to worry about memorizing MLA format or anything. So.
Okay, wait a minute. If I had to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I would just like to encourage the rest of the board, as well as parents and students out there in the audience, to go on the website and look at this stuff and just see where it takes you, because there's a wealth of information that's available from our website through this. Thank you very much. Committee reports. District Advisory Committee, Trustee Lampel.
The District Advisory Committee will meet on March 9th at 6 o'clock in this room.
District English Language Advisory Committee, Trustee Bonilla.
The next meeting for the DLAC will be April 30th at 5:30 p.m. right here. The previous meeting was January 30th.
Thank you. The Education Committee is mine, and we met last Tuesday and saw the long version of what we just saw here tonight, and I found it so interesting that I asked Assistant Superintendent Sherburne to give us a little taste of it tonight. Facilities Committee, Trustee Clements.
Our next committee meeting is May 4th at 6:30 p.m. here in the boardroom. In preparation for that meeting, I wanted to get some clarification from the board. President Pombo, you had shared with me an email that you had sent out, and so my question for the board is the Facilities Committee, are we supposed to take a look at the policy, the law taking a look at serving alcohol in school facilities specifically for the Professional Development Center in preparation for it being complete? Or is that not something that you would like the Facilities Committee to look at?
Yes and no. I believe, and the rest of the board can chime in, I believe that that's something that we will task the Facilities Committee with. I'm not sure if it might be just a tad premature at this point until we have a chance to look at the facility and see what the layout of the facility is. And
I'm not asking to. I'm asking for direction. So.
Yeah, I think the first thing we need to do is to determine, is the PDC going to follow the same procedures that we don't rent them out for the first year as we have with other facilities? So if the answer to that is yes, we have a lot of time to look at the law and figure out how we can possibly implement that. If the answer is no, we're going to open it up sooner, which is a board decision, not just the committee. Then we need to look at that law sooner.
I don't know why we would. I don't know why we would change the policy specifically for the PDC. I would point out that the board can vote to to go ahead and waive that on a case by case basis. Not that the board would for that, but I didn't want to be lax. If we were supposed to be considering it, I wanted to make sure we were, and I wanted to touch back in with the committee or with the board, with the board to make sure, because we hadn't added it to the agenda for the first 3 meetings of the year, and we only have one left. So,
I will defer to the consensus of the board, but I think it's probably something that can be picked up at maybe the first meeting of
the new year. Okay. All right.
That sound good to everyone? Thank you. Policy Committee, Trustee Bonilla.
So the policy committee is finished reviewing the last packet, and we are currently waiting on more policies to review. That's it.
Thank you. The Safety Committee, Trustee Balzerini and I sit on that committee, and our next Safety Committee meeting is March 18th at 3:30 here in the boardroom. Wellness Committee is also mine, and the next committee meeting is April 8th at 3:30 here in the boardroom. Moving
Trustee
on.
Clements, did you say when the next facilities committee is?
Yeah, it's May 4th,
Okay.
May 4th.
6:30.
Thank you. Moving on to governing board reports. Madam Student Trustee?
So, in the last few weeks, I've been able to attend multiple of the elementary school science nights, plus the HOSA Health Expo, to present my capstone project for the Biomed Pathway. And my group and I are also planning on presenting it at the State Leadership Conference in April, so we're working on that right now. And Leadership also hosted our very first Blacklight dance, which was called February Fling, and it turned out very well as well. And many sports such as volleyball, swim, baseball, and tennis have started their seasons. Clubs like HOSA are preparing for their conferences coming soon, and one of our teams from Biomed also went to the Ohlone College Quiz Bowl recently, and they won second place, which was really good. Leadership also just had ASB elections, and class officer and the student representative for district board elections will also be soon as well.
Thank you. Trustee Bonilla?
Not much to report here. I apologize for missing the last meeting due to work. I was able to attend the Bethany School Foundation auction on February 29th. It was well done, put on at the Tracy Community Center. They had a great turnout. It was very successful.
Thank you. Trustee Lampel?
Need to clarify something. I have the facilities committee in my calendar on the 14th, and there's a DAC on the 4th. So I just want to clarify that date, because you said the 4th.
Did I typo it? Let's phone a friend.
I have the DAC on the 4th. And facilities on the 14th. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so my report, what I typed a little while ago. So I was able to attend the county school board's meeting, which was very interesting. Our trustee and director, Balzerini, is trying to get our county school boards to be a little bit more active as a larger group. Many other counties are. It was very interesting to sit there and listen to what's going on in the other districts. I also had the opportunity to stop by the registration event on Monday night at Bethany. Boy, those people take their job seriously. I was trying to sneak in that door and I got stopped. Excuse me. I'm not registering anyone. It's okay. The registration process gets smoother and more organized every year. I think this is the third year in a row that I've had the opportunity to stop by. It was amazing how quickly and efficiently the parents moved through the process and our staff moved around like clockwork. I was proud to stand there and watch them for a little while. They didn't put me to work, so. And then we have coming up on Saturday, I'm looking forward to the crab feed, the Athletic Boosters crab feed. And then next Friday is the Lammersville auction dinner dance, which is always a blast. So it's the season.
It is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trustee Clements?
As mentioned by Trustee Bonilla, I attended the Bethany School Foundation with Trustee Bonilla and President Pombo. I thought it was a great event, and this was Bethany School Foundation's first such event. I thought they did a great job, and I wanted to say congratulations to them. And I will be going to the crab feed as well. I'm looking forward to that. And that's it.
And I trust you're also going to the Lammersville.
Oh, yes. Yes. Sorry.
Well,
Lammersville as well.
thank you. Along with Trustee Lampel and Trustee Balzerini, went to the county CSBA meeting, and I too found it interesting and feel like it's a worthwhile thing to attend. I went to the Education Committee meeting, the Bethany School Dinner and Auction, and earlier today, I went to the Lammersville Site Council meeting. I'm going to try doing something that I have not done in the past. I am going to give a Mountain House High School winter sports update. I got the information from our athletic director, and so I'm going to share it with you here. Mountain House High School winter sports update. Varsity boys basketball was first in league and made it to the second round of the section playoffs. A little trouble with my computer, I apologize. Where is my cursor? It disappeared. Varsity girls basketball came in second place in league and made it to the first round of the section playoffs. Girls JV basketball was second in league. The Frostoff girls basketball was fourth in league. Boys soccer finished eighth in league. Boys, there it's coming back. JV boys soccer was fifth in league. Varsity girls soccer was third in league. First time in school history making it to the section playoffs. Girls JV soccer came fourth in league. Wrestling was fourth in league. Girls wrestling was third in league. And Ramona Jimenez made it to the state tournament where she went one win and one loss on the first day and lost in a close match on the second day. And that concludes my report. I'll try to make it a little smoother in the future should I give the Mountain House High School sports update. Receiving of public comments. The board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public may also bring forward before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. I have no blue cards. Is there anyone who would like to go ahead and bring that up? Thank you. And if you just wait right there, you'll
be recognized.
Thank you. All right. Virginia, is it Mager? Maher. Please.
Good evening, Mr. President, trustees, and Dr. Nicholas. My name's Virginia Maher. I am a parent of 3 students at Bethany Elementary School in 3rd, 5th, and 8th grade. We have been residents here in Mountain House for 15 years now. So we've been here quite a long time and have watched the growth of things. We love our schools, and we're very proud to be part of the Bethany school system and the Lammersville School District. We are distressed by the new rule about a doctor's note after 5 sick days during the course of the school year this year. Honestly, it never would have come to our attention before. We've never had a year where our kids hit 5 sick days. This year has been a particularly bad year for one reason or another. So all of my children have hit that point. And it is not good public health policy to require that students come to school for fear of unexcused absences after 5 days total throughout the year. You have one bout of the flu, you're out for a week, you have a doctor's note to come back. Every time you have a bad cold that requires you to stay home after that, you need a doctor's note. That's an unacceptable burden on parents and families. Last week when my son unfortunately had bad diarrhea, his doctor said keep him home from school, but he doesn't have a fever over 100, so we don't have room to see him right now. So we were in contact with his physician. We had guidance to keep him home from school. We don't have a note for that. We won't. He has an unexcused absence. I do not believe students should have punishment because they've been sick. If the school has issues around students calling in too many sick days and parents abusing the system, which I understand can be a problem, please deal with those parents. Do not treat all of us parents as if we are all suspect and cheating the system. Bethany School's multi-purpose room says character counts and has character banners around the school. This policy acts as if none of your parents have the character to manage their students well. Especially as we look at the issues around viruses coming around now and the fear around that, we hope that you will reconsider this and encourage parents to keep home students who are suspect and sick. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the superintendent to follow up on that for us, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Moving on to item 8. I apologize that I thank you for addressing the board. Item 8, consent items for consideration. Governing board meeting minutes from February 19th. Contracts under $50,000, ratification of 2019-2020 new hires, updated 2019-2020 fundraisers, ratification of school-sponsored overnight trips. Is there anything that anyone would like to ask questions about or pull from the consent items for further discussion?
Move to approve consent items for consideration.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent items are approved.
And I would like to recommend a new employee that started in late February. Ruth Cassidy is a noon duty supervisor. So Ruth, welcome to our Lammersville family.
Welcome. Moving on to item 9, district administrative reports. Dr. Nicholas?
So we have a couple of fun announcements here. At the San Joaquin County High School Honors Concert, we had a student representative who was part of the 2020 Nelson Zane 4-year award recipient, Danielle Kai from Mountain House High School. So congratulations to her. And then the Mountain House High School mock trial team, some exciting stuff there as well. We were the first team in the county to have 3 teams, one varsity team and 2 JV teams, one blue, one silver. Not in terms of awards, I think it's their team uni. Varsity team finished 3rd in the county and had the 2 best JV teams in the county. And our JV blue team had the highest overall record in the county. And then Adriana Kishwani won best artist in the county, and Paul Washa Khan won the best journalist. So they're both going to the state tournament in Los Angeles. So congratulations to them.
Very nice.
And then we had a very important person that we captured on television, so we thought we would show just a brief clip on this, but it's an excellent representation of our district, so everyone needs to look carefully, and it's a background shot, but I think you'll recognize a handsome face.
The focus and the prioritization is on health and safety. And I don't need to remind anybody with school-age kids that walk around facilities like this, and they see things quite literally taped together.
Now, critics argue the measure.
So obviously that was Trustee Balzerini, and to the right of the governor is Michael Tubbs, who's the mayor of Stockton. On the bad news side, in terms of us and state construction bonds, Proposition 13 did not pass. But I have been told, because I was on the phone very early this morning, find out when are they bringing up the next one, that there is plans for a 2022 one already in the works. And then finally, I'm going to have our Director of Student Services, Ms. Buzatil, come up and give kind of just a quick overview of how we're dealing with cleanliness and germs and the concerns over COVID-19.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. So as always, we look to keep all of our students safe and healthy when they're at school. So beginning on February 6th, our custodial staff received direction to make sure that they are cleaning all of the touch points. So Touch points are the light switches, the desks, the tabletops, the door handles, anything that comes in frequent contact with students' hands, staff hands. On February 21st, we had received information and guidance from the California Department of Education and the Center for Disease Control, and then that information was posted to our district website. On February 26th, we did have individual school sites follow up with an ARIES communication, once again reiterating all of the guidance that we had received to date. On February 28th, we received confirmation that the virus, why it lasts on surfaces much longer. And so we also received confirmation that the cleaning product that we are using is effective against the virus. Our short-term plan, we have purchased and will install as soon as they arrive touchless hand sanitizer dispensers to make sure that we're putting in high traffic areas. As you know, across our classrooms there are the individual pumps, but we're going to make sure that we have the touchless ones in areas like the multipurpose room, the learning commons, the maker spaces, in the front office, in the multipurpose rooms. And so we have those coming for all of our elementary schools as well as our high school. Also, staff resources in regards to visual alerts, posters to remind staff and students to make sure that they're washing their hands and covering their cough. And then also reinforcing healthy habits like respiratory hygiene. If you're using a tissue, use it once and throw it directly into the garbage can. And again, make sure that we're covering our cough or our sneezes. And then, as always, a separation of persons if they have like a fever, if we're seeing that they are unwell. In addition to that, we are also having staff with additional hours for the purpose of just going through and hitting all of those touch surfaces in addition to the regular cleanings. So long term, we'll continue to receive our guidance from the San Joaquin County Office of Education and their emergency preparedness plan, of course following direction from the California Department of Education as well as the Center for Disease Control. That's it. Any questions?
People are preparing to like hunker down and not leave their houses because of this. I heard a report, I work out in the valley. Turlock Costco was out of water. People are stocking up and
all
getting
of them
ready.
were out of water.
Oh, all of them? Wow.
And one of the strategic things being done is that the cleaning of the classrooms and the high touch areas are being done on Wednesdays and Fridays. Friday, strategically, as staff has told me, is being done so that it could sit, the agent, whatever it is, can sit and do its cleaning for a long period of time before people come back in.
Sounds like a good plan.
Thanks for the presentation. I would comment to the board that I've actually gotten several questions from after receiving the common sense items that I'm sorry, Virginia, I believe, is not the only parent that's asked me about the dovetail of the common sense stay home when sick and the after 5 absences. So I would ask district staff to look into that and because everything needs to dovetail. So
A piece of information that I learned from the risk management in our workers' comp pool at work is that Clorox wipes are not good enough because whatever your cleaner is needs to stay wet for a solid 5 minutes. And we all know when you use Clorox wipes, it has alcohol, so it dries too fast, and that is not enough time for it to kill many viruses and germs. So cleaners the surfaces need to stay wet for at least 5 minutes to be effective. But I still use Clorox wipes.
thanks, Irene.
And that is my report.
Other questions or comments by the board? Thank you. District Maintenance and Operations Report. Mr. LeGrand, I presume.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. This week, I've had the guys out. We're striping all the soccer fields because soccer games start next week for the K-8 schools. So we started yesterday. Hope to be done by Friday. Had several meetings and phone calls with NMR regarding the Lammersville modernization project. Today, I was at the construction meeting for Cordis and the PDC and the warehouse. The warehouse is complete. The notice of completion is being filed with the county. We're waiting for the racks to show up. Hopefully they'll be here in the next 2 weeks because we want to empty the containers at Lammersville into the warehouse during spring break when the students are not on campus. The PDC is moving along nicely. The metal roofing is being finished up. They're going to start putting the landscaping and the plants in at the end of March. The parking lot is going to be seal coated and striped around the middle of May, and the building should be turned over to us around Memorial Day weekend, if not a couple days before. So, lots of good things at Cordis. They're still working on the backstops for baseball and softball. Interior painting starting on inside the multipurpose room. The lights are scheduled to be installed next week. The floor is scheduled to be installed on April 13th. And then 3 days later, the scoreboard is going to go in. And then the following week after that, the bleachers are going to go in. So by the end of April, it should be looking pretty good for the multipurpose room at Cordis. The kitchen equipment is being installed next week. The playground equipment is scheduled to be installed at the end of this month. And looking to hydro seed the east ball field around March 23rd. And then April 1st, they would do the west ball field. So we'll start seeing some grass probably 2 weeks after that. The weather has been really good for Cordis, obviously. Unfortunately, it hasn't been good for the rest of the sites. We had to go and turn all the irrigation systems back on this week. Much to my chagrin, it's problems for me, but we waited as long as we could. And everything's drying out. There's no rain in the forecast, so we had to turn everything back on. If for some reason the weather turns, we'll just go back and shut them off. Last week was staff eval week. I had about 25 evals to do. I worked nights a couple days last week to meet with the evening staff, but those are all done. I met with Bernie last Wednesday to talk about some custodial issues at the high school and the kitchen. Also on the 26th, I walked the high school with Irene and Sean looking to put some halo sensors potentially in the bathrooms. I have not received the report back from Keenan on the property and liability inspection they did last month. So as soon as I get that, I'll report it out to the board. We've already started working on our spring break plans. We have 4 or 5 projects already identified in my office, ready to go for spring break. Our new custodian started at the high school this week, but unfortunately we had a resignation. So we have another opening, an ongoing saga. And that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
What kind of sensors did you say you were putting in at the high
Halo smoke. It's a fancy word for smoke. Potentially.
Thank you.
Much.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 10, action items. Item A, consider approval of the 2019-2020 intra-district transfer requests. I'm assuming there's no staff report?
No staff report.
I'll move for approval of the 2019-2020 Lammersville Unified School District inter and intra-district transfer request presented herein as of 2/19/2020.
Second.
Questions or comments by the board? Do we have a preferential vote by our student trustee?
Decline to vote.
Thank you. Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with 1 absence. Item B, consider approval of 2020-2021 inter-district transfer requests. I'm assuming no staff report? Do I
No
have a
staff report.
motion?
I'll move to approve the 2020-2021 Lammersville Unified School District inter-district transfer request presented herein as of 2/19/2020.
Second.
Student preferential vote?
Decline to vote.
Having first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with 1 absence. Item C, consider approval of the 2020-2021 LUSD Safe Schools Plan and School Site Safety Plans. Staff report?
I'll just say thank you to all the people that do all the hard work on this and the safety committee.
I will move to approve the 2020-2021 LUSD Safe Schools Plan and Safety and School Site Safety Plans, with my thanks to the staff involved in the preparation of both of those.
Second.
Aye.
First, preferential vote?
Aye.
Aye. Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absence. Item D, consider approval of the 2020-2021 Wellness Plan. Staff report?
Again, thank you to the Wellness Committee for all the hard work, all the sites and staff, and first responders who are part of the program. So thank you to everyone.
I'll move for approval of the Lammersville Unified School District. Am I in the right place? The wellness, right?
Yes.
Okay, I touched it by mistake. The 2020-2021 Lammersville Unified School District Wellness Plan, with also more thanks to the committee.
Second.
Having a first and second, student preferential vote?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item E, consider approval of agreement with Mountain House Community Services District for the use of Mountain House High School Aquatic Center for the 2020-2021 summer swim programs. Staff report?
I can defer to the Facilities Committee representatives on the board, or I can give a general overview. I don't know how you guys would like to would you like to speak to that, Trustee Clements? Or I can say that we've had 2 years of the swim program. This is a request for a 2-year swim program, and the details are very similar to what they've been in the past.
Sorry. I would say that, and that even though it is for 2 years, there are off-ramps if school-related programs expand. We have the responsibility to serve the school district and the extracurricular needs of the children, and this contract supports that. And also, I did notice a typo. It wasn't a typo. The PDF in the packet has a typographical error that wasn't a typo in the actual document that's going to get signed. It was a conversion to PDF. If you look at the third whereas, it states increase recreational opportunities instead of opportunities, but the real document is correct.
So then it's not opportunities.
It is not opportunities. No, it's opportunities.
All right, well, I move to approve the agreement with the Mountain House Community Services District for use of the Mountain House High School Aquatic Center for the 2020 and 2021 summer swim programs.
Second.
I have a question and comment. The agreement states that MHCSD will retain all entry fees paid by users, and I would like to know if any discussion was had about those fees should they surpass the expenses by MHCSD. In other words, if they turn a profit, was any discussion given to having that money reimburse the district for some of the fees we waived?
No.
We did not discuss it. It is my understanding that the CSD is out of pocket as well on the program. So it's a great point for future contract negotiations to add the concept in that once they achieve break even, we get the money until we achieve break even as well.
That was the second part of my question, was to request that conversation be had when this contract, I don't think there's a need to do anything with the contract at this point, but to have that conversation when a new contract is hammered out in the future.
Yes.
Thank you. Further questions or comments?
I'd just like it to be on the record that I advocated for a 1-year contract, not 2. I won't hold it up, but I think 2 years is a mistake.
Thank you. Having a first and a second, preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absence. Item F. Consider approval of temporary certificated hire, Mariam Edamati, self-contained classroom teacher, Sebastian Cuesta School, from 1/10/20 to 5/22/20. Staff report.
Yeah, this temp would be a backfill for a leave of absence request.
I'll move for approval of the temporary certificated hire, Miriam Edamati, as a self-contained classroom teacher at Sebastian Cuesta Elementary School from January 10th through May 22nd, 2020.
Second.
Any further discussion by the board? Having a first and second, do we have a student preferential vote?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item G, consider approval of Comcast Business WAN E-rate service proposal. Staff report?
Yeah, this is the staff recommendation and the choice for the wide area network, which is WAN, for the E-rate proposal.
Move to approve the Comcast Business One E-rate service proposal.
Second.
I just have one question. I noticed we put this out for a RFP and did not choose the lowest bid, and I was just curious as to why that was.
We'll defer to Assistant Superintendent Grijalva.
Good evening. Yes, we've had an outstanding history with Comcast. They have been our provider for many years. We are recommending option one because it is the same rate we are paying now, and it is eligible for E-rate.
Thank you. Further questions or comments by the board? We did get a first and second on that, right? Student preferential vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item H, consider approval of second reading and adoption of updated board policies and administrative regulations. Staff report?
We recommend approval.
Move to approve the second reading and adoption of updated board policies and administrative regulations.
Second.
Having a first and second, student preferential vote?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item I, consider approval of CSVA 2020 Delegate Assembly ballot candidate selection for subregion 8A. Staff report?
It is recommended by Trustee and Director Balzerini that the incumbents be recommended, and they are denoted by an asterisk.
And for the record, those are Kathy Howe, Stephen Schuler, and Jenny Vandepol.
Questions or comments by the board?
Move to approve CSBA 2020 Delegate Assembly ballot candidate selection.
You should probably say the names.
For Kathy Howe, Stephen Schuler, and Jenny Vandepol.
Second.
Having a first and second, student preferential vote?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent.
Trustee Bonilla, the only reason I didn't step out there with a motion, I wasn't sure how to do it.
Okay.
It's okay, we're all here for each other.
That's right.
Item J, consider approval to open the public hearing.
I'll move to approve the public hearing, to open the public hearing.
Second.
Having a first and second, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are now in open hearing. Seeing
Open hearing.
Mr. President, would you read the 2 bullet points there, please?
I apologize. Intention to convey the Central Parkway utility dedication land and roadway dedication land to the MHCSD. Secondly, public who petitioned to protest on the conveyances pursuant to Education Code Section 17560 must file with the governing board. Would anyone like to speak to this?
I'll move to close public hearing.
Second.
Having a first and second, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now in return to open session, regular session. Item L, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 19-20-19 of intent to dedicate land to the Mountain House Community Services District.
I will move to approve Governing Board Resolution number 1920-19, approving conveyance of land to Mountain House Community Services District.
Second.
Having a first and second, student preferential vote?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini,
Absent.
Colin Clements,
Aye.
Ann Bonilla,
Aye.
Sharon Lampel,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye. Item M, consider approval of the 2020, 2021, and 2021-2022 LUSD instructional calendars. That's a lot of twos. Staff report?
Yeah, so over the course of the last year or so, the board asked us to do some stakeholder outreach, and they asked us to investigate with LTA the idea of having a 2-year calendar which would allow us to approve a calendar that would, in the out years, give everybody a clear heads up of how things were going. So these two calendars are the outcome of a good work. I want to acknowledge Mr. Nick Lanier. I was fired up about the last name and I screwed it up again. Sorry. And the team from the district, we had a very good negotiation session and the professionalism that Nick brought to the table. So we strongly recommend the 2 calendars.
I think this is a great move. It gives our community enough notification of when vacations are, and also gives the union enough time to work with the district on adopting the next calendar without frustrating the community. So I think this is a great move, and I'm glad that we're able to give the teachers that fall break that they were looking for.
So I move to, well, are you gonna go ahead? I'll move to approve the 2020, 2021, and 2021, 2022 LUSD instructional calendars.
And I'll second.
And I would like to thank the negotiators on both sides. The board really appreciates the diligence that was put into getting this approved. And also like to thank Trustee Lampel for suggesting the idea that we work on 2 calendar years at a time rather than 1, as was past practice. Having a first and second, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with 1 absent. Moving on to item 11. Calendar. Monday, March 9th, District Advisory Committee meets at 6:30. Wednesday, March 18th, the Safety Committee meets at 3:30. Wednesday, March 18th is the next Governing Board meeting at 7 p.m. And Wednesday, April 8th is the next Wellness Committee at 3:30. In a moment, we will be adjourning to closed session where we will discuss student discipline and other confidential matters, Education Code Sections 35146, 48900, and 48912B. Conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code 54956.9D1, and OAH case number 2019121047. Conference with labor negotiators, Governing Code 54957.6, Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release Complaint, Government Code 54957, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code 54956.8, property 397 East Ramsey Drive, Mountain House, California. Agency negotiator, Superintendent Nicholas, negotiating parties, Mountain House Developers, Camilos, Trimark, Shea, other negotiations, price, terms, payment, or both.
Move for adjournment to closed session.
Second.
Student preferential vote?
Aye.
You don't want to keep us here, huh? Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now adjourned to closed session. Thank you to everyone for showing up this evening, and have a good rest of your
And I
9:30. We're resuming to open session at 9:30 p.m. Closed session item A1, student discipline and other confidential matters, education sections 35146, 48900, and 48912B, student personnel education code 48918, student expulsion number 192010. The board took action on a motion by Ann Bonilla and seconded by trustee Lampel to approve the staff recommendation of an expulsion of student number 192010 for violation of board policy 5131.6 and education code 48900C and education code 48915A1C for spring 2019-2020 and fall 2020-2021 semesters by the following vote. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Closed session item B, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code 54956.9 D1, OAH case number 2019121047. Board took action on a motion by trustee Lampel and seconded by trustee Bonilla to approve final release and settlement agreement resolving OAH case number 2019121047. The district will provide student with reimbursement for educationally related services and attorney's fees in exchange for student agreement to waive all claims to date against the district. The motion passed by the following vote. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Closed session item D, public employee discipline dismissal release complaint, Government Code 54957. On a motion by trustee Lampel and seconded by trustee Clements, the board adopted a resolution pursuant to the applicable provision of the Education Code and authorized the district superintendent and his designee to notify certain certificated employees of their release from his/her probationary positions by the following vote. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Do I have a motion?
I'll move for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are now adjourned.